Welcome to Digital Learning Day 2021. My name is Dr. Tanya Sanders, and I'm going to be presenting on social emotional tactics in a remote world, creating connections. After the presentation, you will have available to you additional information to help you get more learning about this topic. So let's get started. Social emotional has been a huge topic in this day and age. With the pandemic coming and continued remote learning and school districts making decisions on what to do with even the snow days that have been coming here lately. So I've been kind of in the research of social emotional, and that kind of stumbled upon me unexpectedly because when I was getting my PhD about 3 years ago, I had focused on engagement. And that's what I wanted to find out. I thought gamification and playing and fun, and I thought all of these instructional tactics were going to pop up that were going to blow up my research from the qualitative information I was collecting. And it basically did show that people like some of the game techniques and the playing fundamentals, but the winner in overall was people wanted connections. They wanted to build relationships. And that could have been relationship with the content, relationship with people, whether it be teacher, community, peers, so all of those things were important to them. And the content connection was through relevancy. Like, I want to know how it relates to my life. So it kind of was a wonderful exploration through engagement and finding that the students were more engaged when they felt connected. So social emotional is a huge part of that. And so I've really kind of expanded into that based on my findings in my dissertation. So in this presentation, I'm going to quickly go through what is social emotional, the 5 aspects of social emotional. I'm going to define those, and then how to use those, how to teach those things in social emotional through some tools. I'm going to introduce 15 tools. Normally in a longer production of this, I would show you those tools and we would practice those tools. I am just going to mention those tools in here. At the end of this video, there will be a link to additional videos that you can go watch that will help you expand on this intro of social emotional learning. So I'm going to touch on those tools as well. These are the tools that I'm going to be introducing. It's 15 tools. What I did was I did 3 tools per category for social emotional. There's 5 different aspects of those, and I will go into detail about what those are. Now, the main thing about my approach here is that I could teach social emotional all day long. I can teach you about being aware of yourself and setting goals and being nice to other people and building relationships and developing ideas about other human beings based on conversation and collaboration. We could just make an entire lesson out of social emotional. My approach is to do it through the original content. So if I'm already teaching Romeo and Juliet, then I'm going to help them understand themselves through Romeo and Juliet. And I'll continually say that throughout my presentation. So social emotional is emotional health for everybody, even us. And we found out in this time of need that we need that emotional health as well. Of course, we're very concerned about the students and how they handle things in life and how are they moving forward in their world. But also it's very important that we as adults and the adults around us, that we understand that they can use some social emotional attention as well. So through social emotional learning, we understand and we can ourselves and we can manage those emotions. We can also understand where other people are coming through and manage our reactions to those different characteristics that we're facing. Also, it gives us drive and direction. I said that at the beginning, that we can set goals and how do we attain those goals and what are realistic goals. Through social emotional learning, we also can develop some kind of sympathy/empathy, empathy being we've experienced it as well, so that we can associate that with another person, not just project on that other person, but kind of sit with them and have this connection through that emotion. Also, we can build relationships through positive experiences, making that positive connection. There's a lot of things out there that you can do with your students every day that build positive connections with them, but also through these drills and skills that I'm going to be teaching you in this, they can also create a connection with you. And then finally, how to make decisions, positive decisions. What do we do if there's negative decisions that we made? How do we bounce back, and how do we learn about ourselves through those decisions that we're making? So social emotional is this nice little wheel, and everything is cited at the end of this presentation. But I like that it builds everything around. So we're hoping that students will understand social emotional characteristics within themselves and others, that they'll be able to take those from the classroom, use them in the classroom, take them from the classroom, and take that out into the community and build strong understanding and collaborations out in the community through their own emotions and understanding that. Now, the one thing that I always suggest through social emotional is modeling it in the classroom through your experiences, through the curriculum. Most definitely through the curriculum is my focus, because we don't want to add any additional work to you. We just want to take that already wonderful story that we're teaching, or that standard or that benchmark that we're introducing through our lesson, and make it a connection through social emotional learning. Now, the things that occur when students are experiencing some kind of identity through social emotional learning, they will improve academically, they will come across more positive, and they will have less behavioral issues. So the 5 aspects of social emotional are self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationships, skills, and responsible decision making. And some of these will cross over in some of the examples that I'm going to give. So, it doesn't have to be exact teaching of these things for self-awareness, because relationship skills might come through self-awareness, and social awareness is we're figuring out other people. We might learn something about ourselves. So usually in this course, which is much longer than 20 minutes, I would go through each of these and challenge you to, and we would be in a Zoom meeting, or we would live face-to-face, and I would have you define self-awareness. How do you define that? And then we would talk about some of the main points. So if you want, you can pause this video and you can write down some things like, how do you define self-awareness, and what are some things that you associate with self-awareness? So self-awareness is just being aware of your own emotions, understand your thoughts and how those thoughts and those emotions influence your behavior, okay? And so after we know that, then we can look within ourselves and improve and grow. Now, the 3 tools or the things I'm suggesting you can do is you can do reflective journaling, which is huge. That's where we're definitely going to learn about ourselves. But you can also do reflective journaling based on a story that you just read, or a scientific experiment that you conducted in class, or current event, or something in history. Like, this happened in history. How does that affect me, and how do I respond to that? And I can learn about myself through the way that I feel about that topic. The 3 tools, Prezi. And so in Prezi, you could, and if you Google any of these, they're going to pop up. You can make connections to characters or people in the world. So if I create a Prezi, which is this non-linear way of presenting, I can have something fly in and it's talking about this character, and then I can have all these other things correlate with here's what the character feels, here's how I feel, here's how those interrelate. And then I can also do some Venn diagrams with that as well. And that's where MindMeister comes in, where you can create a brain map. I think MindMeister is a great tool. Even if you're not working on social emotional, a lot of these tools can be helpful in your classroom to get ready for a story, or outline a research paper of some sort, or collaborate project-based learning groups. But MindMeister can also be used for social emotional learning to be more self-aware, where the student can mind map themselves in correlation to a character, time in history, time in current event, that kind of stuff. And then Penzu is not Google login. So I love this tool, so I got to introduce it, but a lot of schools don't want something that's not easy to log into, and Penzu they'd have to create an account and that kind of stuff, so it gets a little cumbersome, whereas MindMeister is Google and Prezi is Google. And they have single sign-on for other things too, Microsoft and whatever. But Penzu is primarily a journaling tool, and you can utilize that for students to talk about how they experience things in class and how they feel about those. And it could also even be, a feedback for how did you understand the lesson today? How does this affect you? And then that would create a connection through the curriculum. Self-management, the second one, is right now, again, pause, write down how you define self-management. So self, myself, managing, and the main points, what main points do you feel go along with that? So self-management is always about self-control, regulating your emotions, your thoughts, your behaviors. How is it going to be different in this situation as opposed to this situation? How do you manage stress? And then setting goals. This is great for project-based learning, and I'm jumping ahead here, but I do that a lot because these are my ideas. These are things based on research that I've that said, oh, this would work. But you can set goals for your project-based learning in Google Keep. This is the thing that I want to do. This is what you're going to do. We're self-managing ourselves, but also we're learning about others because they're managing themselves through the project as well. Some things that you can do for self-management: understand your emotions so that you know when to take a break, you know when to take deep breaths, count to 5, a lot of contact, your self-contact, like focusing and bringing yourself back in through, whether it be, 2 fingers together or grasping your hands or, just touching the desk, understanding that that's going to help you manage your stress or manage your anxiety or however you're dealing with that. And then also with self-management, how to motivate, how to control yourself and regulate your emotions. Like I said, Google Keep, you can create tasks, make a goal list, and even checks off. It's kind of nice. And you can connect that and sync that with Google Docs. And so that you could even have some student collaboration groups work on that and be like, we have to complete these 10 things. And then this is the way we're going to coordinate that. WeVideo is amazing for any of these. Anytime you want to make a video, it's just, a great tool. You can only do 5 minutes for free each month. But based on this curriculum, you really don't want students making a video every day, and it takes a minute to make a video anyways. And 5 minutes is a lot for a video. So 2-3 minutes, a week, 2 minutes this 2 weeks and 2 minutes this 2 weeks, you can figure it out. But you can have them do a contract. You can have them do a video about this is where I am today and this is where I'm going to be. All of those things would work out for that. Padlet is a great tool. I know that there's been some things on the boards that Padlet's been kind of not appropriate in some ways, and that students can kind of explore some things that aren't good. So, but Padlet is still a good tool, and you could probably get the paid version for very affordable. But Padlet is great for cooperative learning planning. It's good for to be able to compare things in blocks and put videos and audio and pictures in there. So if I'm trying to understand or manage myself, I can put things in there and then put the picture next to it. It's complete, or this is the thing that I'm going to move towards, a part of a story or a part of my curriculum. I could put that main point in there, and then how did this person achieve their goals and how did they move forward in that? The third aspect is social awareness. How do you define social awareness? And what are the main points that you think would be connected to social awareness? Well, social awareness is when we look at the perspective of other people. We try to empathize with those other people. And everybody has diverse backgrounds, whether it be where they were raised, the friends that they have and the experiences that they've had. So we need to understand and learn those things. A lot of times we see the world through our eyes and we project onto them what we have experienced when not everybody has experienced that. And it's never been more clear than now that there's differences in opinions and how you feel and how you react to something. It's all over there. Just go to social media and it can either be comforting to you because everybody kind of is leaning in the same direction you are, or it can be discouraging because you see all the different views that are confusing you. But we can understand others through those interactions, and then just be aware of it, and then embodying that and transforming ourselves to understand that a little bit more through the diversity of others. So the 3 tools that I've chosen, Buncee, ListenWise, Blogger. I love these tools. Buncee is amazing anyways. It's kind of like a better Google Slides. It does more interactive things. It's, all of these tools I use for free. All of them will have like a make 3 presentations for free, or 2 slides for this. And so keep in mind that I try to choose tools that are free and that are easy to log in with Google. So through understanding other people and embracing diversity and creating some empathy for the diverse individuals that are around us, and we can create a Buncee presentation of someone else, and then you have all the aspects. So if I just read Les Miserables, I want to understand Jean Valjean. So I can do a presentation on what, not just facts from the story, but how he lives in that story. Like, he's compassionate and he cares about others, and he does have this intense guilt that he always wants to work through. So I'm understanding that person and why they did these things, instead of like someone broke the law and they're going to jail. And so this kind of dichotomy between Javert and Jean Valjean, that's totally social awareness. ListenWise, I stumbled upon over the pandemic, and I love it. It's very neutral to it's pretty much neutral. It depends on what you search for. You can find things that are in this area that you can give students different perspectives. But ListenWise has audio files with transcripts, and then it has questions associated with it. And it's topics that make you think and debatable. And so you're just like, this person thinks this way, and this person thinks this way. And they just give you the story. And that's what I mean by neutral. Choosing the topic, of course, is kind of, it might be a little different for you in there. But I like ListenWise because I can sit there and I can find something, and it gives me both perspectives. It interviews people, and so you can hear like a senator from Ohio talking about the election coming up, and of course election's over, but and then you can have a school superintendent talking, and then you can have a news person, and all of them have different views, and it just kind of puts all the views in there for the student with transcripts, with questions, with debatable things. And so I like ListenWise for that. And then of course Blogger is a blog, and this can be used for anything, where you could have the students explore some kind of thing that was in your history book, and how would that compare to today? What have you learned about the people there, and how would the people react? And so you're just kind of becoming aware of your surroundings through this dialogue that you're creating in Blogger. Relationship skills, again, how do you define it? What main points would you bring out of that? I think it's kind of self-explanatory. Having relationships with people is important and sometimes difficult. And then what type of relationship is that? So how can we teach students skills to have healthy relationships, how to listen to people, how to cooperate with other people, not just conforming, like the standing in silence it defines you by the group, and we don't want that to happen. So nonconformity to maybe something you don't agree with. So standing up for someone who's being bullied, or speaking up when something isn't right. And that, that's not how I feel. Don't let people define you. through that. So healthy relationships, how to make that happen. So how do they establish, how do they maintain those healthy and positive, rewarding relationships with different people, different groups? So that's important. And you can do this through your activities in class, because cooperative learning is all that. Project-based learning is all that. Playground conflict resolution, classroom resolution. So how do the students handle the challenges, and how do they resolve those? And the 3 tools that I've chosen for this is Lucid Press, and they have articles that you can read in there, and understanding other people, so the students could analyze it, they could work in groups on those. And I might have a view of this this article, which is going to help with social awareness, and then this other person, and self-awareness, and this other person over here is going to have a different view of this article. But through that article, we're trying to understand how to work with each other and build a relationship to figure that out, and how would we coincidentally figure out a relationship with the content in that article. Goose Chase is amazing. If you haven't used it, it's a scavenger hunt. It's gamified. The students work together to find certain things, and it would be through your curriculum, but the students would have to take on roles, leadership roles, and figure out how to solve the thing that you want them to do. So Goose Chase is amazing for that. And Google Form is more focused on the social emotional tool rather than a curriculum tool, the example that I give you here. But the students could fill out the form based on issues that they're having in the classroom. So it'd be like family talk time. So circle time discussions, the students would come down and the teacher would pull up one, and then everybody would discuss it. And it helps you understand how other people move in the world, social awareness, how you feel about that, self-awareness, and then how to fix that and build a positive relationship on that. So the relationship skills thing come through. The very last one here, responsible decision making. Again, how do you define it? What are your main points? So how to make good decisions? How do I approach something and decide on how I'm going to react to that? So, you know, I go into this conflict, this project, this task, and I'm constructively trying to decide how to make positive choices, respectful choices about the way I behave, the way I interact with people, because all of those things have consequences. And so we're learning about how to make good decisions to interact with other diverse groups and individuals around us. So you're always considering yourself, don't forget yourself, and others, don't forget those others, because sometimes we go one way or the other, like we only think of ourselves and disregard how the other person thinks. And in that decision, like, what am I going to do? The consequence doesn't always affect me, but it affects others. So the 3 tools that I've chosen for this, because you can do debates, you can do problem solving, you can, think about the well-being of others through worldly events, historical events. Go back to the French Revolutionary War and think about how those people felt, how you feel about those things. What decisions should they made? A what if situation. I love what ifs. So in Adobe Sparks, if you say, what if this person would have done this thing? What if this person wouldn't have, what if Rosa Parks would have gotten off the bus? What if she wouldn't have taken that seat? What if she wouldn't have taken that stand? What if this thing wouldn't have happened? You can also have students do campaign projects for characters in books, like have them run for an office for the school president, or have them run for the United States president, and then they could create a presentation. Now, Adobe Sparks is huge. That's why I love this program. It's not just for pamphlets, brochures, posters, audio files. It's got video files, and it has, kind of Prezi-like, Google Slide-like presentations that you can do in there. Google Sites, of course, is a website. You can create your own what would you do and illustrate that through the pages of a Google site. And then you're going to love this one. You're going to, be mad if you don't Explor storyboard that. I've always used it for free. You can use now 3 blocks for free. And it's basically a cartoon building tool where the students will pull things down. And again, our YouTube channel has more of these in depth. Like I talk about each tool, and also I'll have contact information at the end of this, which we're close to, allowing you to learn more about these things. The storyboard, that is an amazing cartoon making tool, illustrating tool, and the students can save it and download it and print it and hand it out to you. But they just love it. I've worked with students a lot with this, and they build their own storyboards within it over and over and over again. So it's a wonderful tool. So I have an additional handout here, and this is going to be included in the resources for the Digital Learning Day materials that you're going to get in resources. So make sure you click on that, or you're also going to get my site. Yes, so you can click on this and explore that a little bit more. Here's my email. Feel free to email me anytime you want, and I'll give you more information of how to, answer the question about a tool or answer more questions about social emotional learning. Our YouTube channel, NWAT YouTube channel, there are 6 videos in regards, very in depth, that you can get certification. You can get CEU certificates through taking an assessment after you watch the video and answer the questions correctly. For this video, the code is NWOT SSE, and there will be a live Q&A available when you have more questions. All right, it's been great spending time with you guys. Please contact me if you have any more questions or need any more information in regards to social emotional learning. Thank you.